better get up, stand up. If you've been done wrong, you better stand up for your rights like that Marley song. Keep yourself represented, lawfully defended. Know your human rights, don't ever surrender. No, don't ever.
Welcome to Justice for All, the program that leads you through the ins and outs of Jamaica's legal and justice systems and how they affect you. After many years of waiting, Jamaica is about to receive a new Charter of Rights and Freedoms. But how will that affect you? Today we'll talk to the legal experts about how it will affect all Jamaicans. So Nancy, what are some of the new responsibilities of the state provided this new charter?
Okay, I don't really say that they're new responsibilities, but finally the state, the government of Jamaica has put them into the Constitution. All states and all governments are responsible to protect and promote human rights. But we now have it in our Constitution, in the preamble to the fundamental rights and freedoms, which clearly says a state has an obligation to promote universal respect for and observance of human rights and freedoms.
The Charter of Rights in any constitution sets out the basics that make a human being in Jamaica, the rights that a human being, just by being born, is entitled to, and how the state is to treat them, and what they're to get from the state, and what is wrong to be done to them. It's fundamental to engaging citizens in a democracy, in governance, in participation in their country. It sets out all of those things. And it really is critical. It sets it out clearly. And that was one of the things. You then give people a stake in their personhood, in their dignity, in their equality before the law, in their rights as citizens. It invests them in the country. It invests them in the governance. It invests them in the democracy.
What kind of effect do you think that can have on the landscape as it is now?
Well, it certainly means that by guaranteeing that people have the rights that are listed in the fundamental rights and freedoms, and giving the mechanism to enforce the observance of those by the state and by others, that we have a new and potentially very helpful safeguard against violation of our rights.
Is our charter up to world standards, or do you feel as if something is missing?
Well, I could go on for quite a while about what is missing, right? But it certainly is a far better than what we've had in Chapter 3. And it complies with a lot of the more revolutionary and more upgraded charters from other countries, for example, Canada and South Africa.
For a human rights activist, disappointing that we didn't prohibit discrimination on all grounds. We have discrimination on some grounds, but you can be discriminated against on the basis of your health status. So if you have TB and they decide to lock you up in a sanatorium, well, it's not in the charter. You don't have any rights. No right to freedom of discrimination. Same thing for sexual orientation. You can be quite glibly discriminated against because of your sexual orientation.
And why doesn't your organization approve of the new charter?
The charter excludes, under the non-discrimination clause, anything that would cover certainly the populations that we serve, the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender community. There's nothing in the definition around sex or sexual orientation that would include this group.
If the charter doesn't address decriminalization, do you think we'll continue to see homophobia in Jamaica?
It is socially ingrained. It's become expected, it's become celebrated. It is a reaction that is almost required of you to speak against this other, being the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community. So it's not the law, the change in the laws alone will not curb homophobia, but certainly goes a long way in ensuring the protection for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community.
I'm also very concerned about the non-discrimination clause, in this charter because it leaves out a number of things. Okay, sexual orientation, but it leaves out being discriminated against on the basis of a disability. That isn't there. Language isn't there. Health status isn't there. You know, so all of those things are things that we can all give examples of people being discriminated against. And it's not in our charter.
You can't divide one from the other and say this is more important and that's more important. But we still have some resistance across the world to the universality of rights. And so you'll have certain countries thinking, well, you know, who is the northern or the western world to tell me about rights? I do what's right for my cultural setting, etc., etc. Yeah, but at the same time, there are certain universal principles that need to be held on to. And so we have these dialogues and you have reforms of the UN Human Rights Council that go on so that we can have better representation and everybody's voice gets heard. And it remains a work in progress. We are not victims, we're people. And we have rights and we need to be treated with dignity.
For more information on your rights or legal assistance, contact Jamaicans for Justice by calling 755-4524-6 or visit us on the web at www.jamaicansforjustice.org. We hope we provided you with information you can use on the Charter of Rights. But remember, justice for one means justice for all.
You better get up, stand up. If you've been done wrong, you better stand up for your rights like that Marley song. Get yourself represented, lawfully defended. Know your human rights. Don't